All right. Hello and welcome everyone to this Skills Kickstart session on ePick Plus. Our presenters today are Alex Luna and Mike Cooper. We're going to get started in just a moment, give the other attendees a minute to arrive. But this session, like all the others, please go ahead and drop in your questions in the Q&A or the webinar chat. We'll be answering them live throughout the session. And like I said, getting started in just a minute. All right. I think we have a quorum on attendees. We'll go ahead and get started. Again, this is the ePick Plus Skills Kickstart. Take it away, guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lori. As Lori mentioned, this is the Introduction to ePick Plus Skills Kickstart webinar. Now, you may have seen this, and that's just because we are rerunning this, just because the upgrade is here for ePick Plus. So we want to go back through these tools, show you how to work through it again, and see if you had any additional questions. With that, my name is Alex Luna. I am a customer enablement specialist here at Encompass. I've been with the company for over 3 years now, worked on the e-commerce side for support, and then moved into enablement for operations and a lot of other fun stuff.
Awesome. And I am Michael Cooper. For those who work for me, I go by Cooper, so don't be surprised if Alex refers to me in that sense. I am a customer success manager here at Encompass. I've been here almost 8 years now, and I've worked in most of the aspects of the company from analyst to product manager, release manager, and customer success manager. So excited to join Alex today for our presentation. Awesome. So let's go over what our agenda is for today. So what we want to talk about today is what is ePick Plus, kind of covering the old legacy ePick versus new ePick Plus, kind of why we're changing to this ePick Plus, what our motivations and goals are, kind of the future of warehouse devices and what that looks like, touch on some of the exclusive features in ePick Plus, how to access that within Encompass Mobile, and then kind of a wrap up and talk about next steps, how to make sure you can get this to your users, and wrap up with any questions. Awesome. So what is ePick Plus? ePick Plus is the guided picking experience for users on a digital device. So this is kind of the digital palette or box picking paired with kind of any kind of QA processes as well. Here we can make sure we have that list of features and processes on a digital device to move away from whether it's paper picking or older processes as well, to kind of bring the warehouse into a newer digital age, right? This integrates into handhelds, so you can have, whether it's the handheld device itself, along with scanning for QA for confirmations, making sure pallets are assigned and designed to specific teams that need to be assigned to, and make sure there's kind of no mess at the docks where we're mixing up with papers and tags and things like that to have to sort through. So it's kind of our digital solution towards picking. So with this guided picking experience, right, this allows users to interact, whether it's by voice or by scanning or kind of any other flexible confirmation methods, whether it's typing in confirmation numbers or remembering codes, to try to make sure your picking team is held to the standards and accuracy that you expect of them. This is so that as you're going through and using things like pallet tags, you can communicate dates and batch codes, and make sure that information is tracked through the bin inventory level, and then tracking that all the way down to the retailer for when those get picked.
Now, Cooper, ePick Plus does sound pretty great, but don't we already have a tool for this? And what is the difference between kind of ePick Plus now and that ePick legacy that we're used to seeing?
Yeah, good point, Alex. So we do, right? We currently have a solution out there that is just called ePick. For those of you who may have been on Compass a little bit longer, maybe you remember the time it used to be called Voice Pick. Back in 2021, we kind of changed the name to kind of be more of a broad applicable term for those who weren't using the voice aspects of the tool and just using it as a digital pick sheet through scanning. We renamed VoicePick to ePick, and now we are coming out with ePick Plus as kind of the next evolution of that tool. So the idea here is with ePick Plus, there is more robust functionality. Right, so we have some updated visual experiences, some simplification of workflows by pulling some filters into uh, a single page instead of multiple pages, as well as adding some new unique features, which we'll talk about here a little bit later. With this as well, we are kind of reaching the end of life of that ePick legacy. So with this release in 2509, ePick legacy will no longer be a supported version, meaning that you can still use it in tandem for a little bit, as you look to deprecate that off of the mobile applications. But if there are any issues you're running into on legacy ePick, the first recommendation for support will be to get on ePick Plus and to work through that workflow there. And then we'll look for any issues that might be coming up and then solve them from there.
Now, Coop, do we need any additional training for ePick Plus?
No, there's no necessary additional training for ePick Plus. The idea and motivation behind this was we wanted the workflow to be as similar as possible for those end users. That someone in the warehouse who's going to go picking can pick up the device and get started right away. So we didn't want to have any disruptions to their workflow as much as possible. The big changes we're trying to pull more information up, and again, trying to make some of the access to some of the settings and tools easier to get to. But in terms of a basic workflow for a picker, for getting a pallet signed, completing the picks, and moving on, there's no additional training they're going to need to be able to pick this up and get picking right away.
Awesome. So now I'm going to go ahead and talk about why we really developed ePick Plus and really our motivations and our goals that can be really summarized into these four main areas. Those four areas are going to be modernize, streamline, diversify, and safeguard. So, firstly, we really wanted to modernize the picking experience. So, ePick Plus is going to offer this updated look and make it feel a lot more intuitive, especially for a lot of our new users. So, it's going to have that same effect and that same kind of streamlined process that we talked about with Cooper, but it's going to have that updated look that's just a lot easier for a lot of our new users. And with this, it's going to really focus on presenting a lot of the most crucial and critical information right up front. So we're not going to have to look for it in all these different places. And so as I talk about that, that's where we kind of get into this streamlining the workflows. So we've adjusted a lot of the settings, the processes, reducing a lot of those unnecessary taps to minimize a lot of the confusion. I know I'm sure a few of us have had to go back to that main page and you had to click that back arrow three, maybe four times just to get back. We've now updated that speeding or updated that picking process to kind of maintain a degree of familiarity for these existing users to where you can actually go in and click the settings button, go back to the main page, and you're not having to click that backspace multiple times. So, really streamlining those workflows so that way we're not providing a lot of this confusion and reducing a lot of those slowdowns. Thirdly, we wanted to diversify our options. So ePick Plus is built on a different code structure, which is going to allow for picking access on a wider range of devices. So it's really going to give us this freedom to choose the hardware that best suits our needs or any picking method that we want to utilize. So a lot of us are used to iOS and Apple, but now we're able to see it on a lot of other devices. One of those now being Android. So I'm going to talk about that here in a second, but Android is a new way that we can use ePick Plus. And finally, we wanted to safeguard our system. So by reducing the reliance on specific mobile devices or app code, we've made it a lot easier to implement the changes and releases at a way quicker rate. So we're always ensuring that we have access to the latest and most stable version of the tool right up front, right away. A lot of us may remember while we were utilizing ePick, if there was an issue that happened, we would have to go through the app code. We would then have to send that app code back to iOS with communication with Apple, get that all sorted on their side. Once they approved it, they would send it back to us, and that could have took up to a week. Now we are less reliant on that, and we are utilizing our own application code, so that way it's more flexible. We can actually release these fixes overnight with our development team instead of waiting for that third party.
Hold on, Alex. I've been with the Compass for a while now. Did you say picking on Android?
I did. So moving on, we now have picking with Android. So there is picking. We do have a select set of devices that are going to run on that Android platform that we have tested and confirmed that picking works. One of those is going to be that Zebra WS50, which it's a really small kind of portable wearable device. You can wear it as a finger ring, you put it on your arm. That way you're still able to move cases if you need to, but it's really a great tool in that Android world and really our first step into picking on Android with ePick Plus. So, Android also has a whole wide range of devices that we see coming out constantly. We have the Pixel, Samsungs, and more are just coming out. So, really stay tuned because the more that come out and the more that we keep testing and kind of seeing a lot of these hardware, the more that we're going to interact with Android and kind of get this set up into our new ePick Plus world. So, keep that in mind. Keep looking at your release notes to see what's new. But as of right now, Zebra WS50 is our main one in that Android realm. Awesome. So now that I chatted about having Android and iOS, I kind of want to just touch base on how those have progressed throughout the years and kind of what we're looking like today. So, as a few of us may remember, years ago we had the iPod Touches, and so when Apple phased those out, we upgraded to iPhones and iPhone SEs. Now, even those are on their way out. So, iOS is always going to continue to upgrade, and you can too. Continue upgrading with iOS if you like that feel, stay with Apple, upgrade with them as needed. But that new method that we do have is now that Android and specifically that Android WS50. So that one is just going to be for scanning with no voice pick, but it is another available option that we do have now. So if you like iOS, stay with iOS, but that Android is a new version that we can utilize. Now, one question that I have gotten is if we can utilize both in the same warehouse. And you can use both in the same warehouse, but it's going to be a lot easier to just stay with one, especially on the maintenance side. So you're not having to deal with Android devices and iOS. Just stick with one if you're going to do it that as well. So now kind of talking about ePick Plus as its new UI and what we've come up with and the refreshed look and feel that we're going to see. So right away, it's going to be more modern. We're going to have a lot of the filters that have been moved to the main page so that way you can see your palette type, you can see your pick teams, you can see the date right away. You can go in once you have started the palette, you can see your customer, your palette ID, and your route, all that without having to go and click for it and find it somewhere else. So we're really reducing a lot of those main clicks and putting those filters on the main page. So it's going to allow for more visibility into the products we're picking and what we're actually doing within our day. Now on that second screenshot, we're also going to see the progress that we've made within our picking. So we have included a progress bar, so that way you're going along with the picking progress. You can see, hey, I've done this product out of this many products. This is where I'm at. I can see the total units on that specific palette in general, and just a more modern feel to where you can actually see all the information you need right when you're needing it. Now, with that, I'm going to hand it off to Cooper so he can tell us a little bit more about the special features that we've included with ePick Plus.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, so with ePick Plus, we do have some new exclusive features that we've been hearing a lot about over the past few years about tools that would really make the picking process a little bit smoother. So the first one we have available is this multi-scan prompting. So this is a feature that had come back out, which we had seen on ePick, where if a user is trying to pick the same product for multiple pallets, or if you're picking, 2 or 3 pallets at a time, you're directed to a specific bin and you have to pick that product for pallet A and then again for pallet B. We had implemented where we're going to require a scan for each time that's being picked, meaning the user has to scan the product, pick it, scan it again to pick it again. So to try to streamline that, we've now had the ability where users can toggle that, whether it's an on or off setting, to allow them to say, hey, if I'm at this location scanning the product, I don't want to have to slow down and have them scan it 2 or 3 times for every pallet they're picking onto. I've already confirmed them right that I'm at the correct location and picking the correct product. I want to just have it tell them, pick 5 cases pallet 1, pick 3 cases pallet 2. So pulling that into a toggleable setting gives your team control whether you want those additional prompts or not. The second one, which is really cool, is layer prioritization. So for those who have had some experienced pickers come and go, you know the value of them and their knowledge of being able to build a solid base on a palette, right? They might be familiar with looking at that product list, seeing what the next 2 or 3 picks are, and if pick 2 or 3 is a full layer's worth, they might move ahead a pick and know to build that as their first or second pick to build a solid base to complete the rest of their picks on top of. This made for a more stable pallet, which would transport better and led to less potential breakage in the delivery cycle. So for those who aren't necessarily doing layer picking with like the layer arm, you can still turn on layer pick and turn this layer prioritization on. And what this will do is this will reshift that pick sequence to put those full layer quantities first. So now you don't have to have that seasoned picker who knows to look for those. This can be toggled on. So even your newer, less experienced pickers can be told to pick the full layer quantities first, build that better base, and then continue to pick the rest of their palette. The third one on here is the easier navigation. You've heard Alex hint on this, that to try to go back to that main page from Legacy ePick, it took a few taps or tapping the back button a couple times, or you had to tap settings and then return. It wasn't the most consistent workflow and process to get there, and took an excessive number of taps to really just get back to that main page. So now from anywhere within the ePick Plus process, if you tap on the 3 little dots or the hamburger menu they call on the top right, you'll have the option just to return to the main page. So it makes it a much more simpler, easier to access feature to get back to that main list of palettes if you need to change your pick team or palette type or date you're picking for. So trying to reduce a lot of those unnecessary clicks.
Guys, we did have a question that came through the chat. How does the visibility of products and case quantities work with the QA methods of case count or product count?
Yeah, so one of those things that can come up, I guess it depends on who's doing that QA step. If the picker is doing that, if they're like writing that number down and remembering it, then they'll still have it. But with the current ePick process as well, they can see their whole picks and write down all those total picks and have it. I guess that still just depends on your trust with your pickers if they're going to do the right thing and just write the number down and write it down versus what they've actually cut. So if they're keeping track of all their cuts and trying to get past that system control anyways, they can probably still do that with ePick Plus. If it's going to a QA team, then it'll be the same workflow of picker gets completed, it goes to the QA team, and then they're prompted to do the case count as well. I know that has been something we've seen in the ideas portal about having that be a toggleable feature, the total quantity count at the top to display or not. So that's something the product team has seen and will review as a potential feature down the road. But currently that is something that it will show at the top and will become something that shows there.
Great, thanks. And just one more quick one. Is the progress bar showing the number of SKUs or total cases?
Yeah, so the progress bar will show number of SKUs, and that's the total picks to be completed, where the number on top has kind of the total case count or total unit count to be picked. So the one on the top is the total units for the whole palette. That one is not the progress bar. The one that does have the progress bar is the total number of picks. So it's I've picked 3 out of 5 SKUs or 5 out of 10 SKUs. That's what the progress bar is reflecting.
Makes sense. Thanks so much. No more questions have come through yet, but y'all keep them coming in, okay?
Awesome. Next slide, Alex. Yeah, thank you. The next few feature requests or next exclusive features that we've had are really around the process of when pickers get to a bin and they don't see the expected quantity, or they're having to take action at that bin. The first being able to create replenish requests on the fly if there's not enough available inventory. So if a picker goes in, there's now a system setting that will allow you to control that if a picker has to make a cut or if they have to skip a pick because there's not enough inventory, they can get that prompt that you see on the left-hand side that says, do you want to create a replenish request? And if they leave that box checked and tap next, they can move on to their next product. And now a move task will be created where anyone that's doing replenishing during the pick can see that, pick that up. It will get moved up in the hierarchy through your replenishment. So this will kind of move up to the top of the replenishment hierarchy and priorities to get that replenished so that way that product can get filled and the picker can go back and complete that pick. The other one that you see as well is that if the picker is making a cut, but maybe there isn't replenishment or you don't do replenishment during the picks, right? So you don't want to create the replenish request because no one's going to be filling those during the picks. But if the picker is cutting product, do we want them to correct the bin inventory so that it's accurate, right? The picker should only be making that cut if they're down to the last, 3 cases and they're told to pick 7. If they cut it to 3, again, a system setting you guys can control if you want these prompts to come up or not, can allow the picker to say, yes, I want to count the remaining inventory to 0. This way, we now know the bin is empty and anything else we may be palletizing throughout, if we are skipping rules or anything like that, can move on to the next bin. And we're not sending the rest of the pickers to this bin to continue to drive it further into the negative. And this way you get that accurate update of your bin inventory when a bin has been depleted. The last one here is the ability to change the pick bin. So this is something that you can set on each individual pick method, but it's allowing users to, when they see the pick bin up there on the top, in this case on the screenshot on the left, it says was ACR pick. There's a little drop down field they can tap on and we'll show you the other bins where that product has inventory. And the picker can then tell the system, hey, I'm going to pick it from this bin instead. So again, if you're not doing replenishments, but you know you have inventory available somewhere else the picker can pick from, they're able to go in there, change the pick bin location, and say, hey, I'm picking from this bin instead. This helps reduce a lot of the after the fact moves that we've seen have to take place. The picker just goes to one of those other bins anyway and grabs the product because they know they have it there. Someone then has to go do a move or an inventory count to settle that and square that up because the system thought he picked from his original bin. This way, that picker now can say which bin they're pulling from, and inventory is accurate for the remaining picks and for afterwards. So all of these features here are opt-in features, whether it's through a system setting or a field on the pick method. So if it's something you want to implement, you can choose when and how you want to implement those within your own teams.
Now, we did have a couple more questions come through.
Yeah.
About the overlay or the pop-up. Can we turn off the replenish requests and bin inventory correction prompt pop-ups?
Yeah, as I mentioned, those are controlled through a system setting. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but they are referring to prompt picker to create replenish request on cut, and same thing with count bin inventory to 0. So if you type in some of those keywords, they should come right up. And we can get back to whoever asked that question with a specific system ID number if we need to, but they are system settings you can control. If those are toggled off, the pop-ups won't come up. So they are up to you if you want those to come up or not.
Okay. Yeah, we do have some documentation. Oh, it looks like somebody did the research for us. System setting 527.
All
Unconfirmed,
right.
but y'all should check that out. And another question that has come in, where can we find documentation or proper configuration of ePick compatible pick methods, pick rules, and load groups? I feel like it's the same place where we might be able to confirm the system settings, no?
So there shouldn't be any necessarily different pick methods, load groups, pick rules between ePick Legacy and ePick Plus. The idea is that the interaction should be the same on the setup side. The only real difference on fields is that allow pick from different bin on the pick method. That's really the only new field that you can toggle off or on that's now available on all pick methods. It's only applicable in ePick Plus. So if you set it to true and you're still on ePick Legacy, it won't do anything. But within ePick Plus, if you have that field to true, it'll allow pickers to choose what bin they're pulling from. Otherwise, there shouldn't have to be any other configuration changes you're making to pick methods, pick rules, and load groups to utilize ePick Plus.
Perfect. But we do have documentation on ePick Plus. Check out help resources. I know that the specifics on ePick Plus, they have been created. Look in that question mark in the upper right corner of your page, okay? All right, proceed.
Awesome. Well, now we're going to pass it off to Alex to kind of walk us through a demonstration of some of these new features as well.
Awesome. Thanks, Coop. I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen so we can go to the simulation. Perfect. Okay, so now everybody should be seeing my iPhone that I have. Up here, we're going to go through the standard workflow that we normally would as well to kind of see what we're doing in ePick Plus. So as typical, we're going to go into our warehouse and we're going to log in. We're going to choose our location that we're working out of. And under our picking section, we're going to see this ePick Plus. So we're going to go ahead and toggle into ePick Plus. Now, bear with me. The voice overlay is going to talk, so I'm going to pause while it talks. That way, I'm not talking over it. So I just want to clarify that. But as we get into ePick Plus, there's a few new things that we're seeing right away. We're seeing these three new filters at the very top to where we can actually choose the date that we're working with. If there were multiple dates, we can go ahead and put them up here and they would display as a prompt and you can choose them from there. But as you're working through and you needed to change the date, you can do that from this filter. If we wanted to change the palette type, we can choose that from here, as well as the pick team, we could choose that from this filter as well. Now on this main page, we also have this hamburger menu where we can see our settings. So I'm just going to hop into there just to show you a few of those. So if I go into the settings, the first one we see at the very top is this upload logs. And I really want to call this out because it is a really handy tool, especially if you're experiencing something that you shouldn't be and you're reaching out to support for anything. You can upload your logs, and that way it's going to send a string of code to our developers and kind of see what they're exactly seeing from their handheld device. So it's a really handy tool to help go in and see what you're seeing, see that code from that backend, and really help get that experience going for you. Now, also on this settings page is we have our default printer. Right now, you can see that it's set to none. The reason why it's set to none is that way it's going to allow your pickers to actually choose the printer that they want to use on the back end. So once they're done with their picking process and they're confirmed the palette, they could then go and choose that printer from a list of printers that you may have. And that's if it's set to none. Now, if you did have a specific printer that you wanted to use or one that it should go to every time, that's where you can click into here and choose that default printer so that way the pickers don't have the option to choose. So again, that's up to you, your workflow, and how you want to see that work. Now, also in this settings area, there are a bunch of other ones. Here are some of the settings that Cooper mentioned in our previous slides, as well as some other settings that you can go ahead and play around with, go take a look at. But those main ones I wanted to call out are those printer and the upload logs. So now going back to our picking, we're going to go ahead and start our picking process, go through a few scenarios, and kind of work through this ePick Plus module. So right away, as I click start picking, that start picking is literally just what the begin used to be. So you're going to click start picking. It's going to take us to this page that's going to tell us, hey, we have 15 cases in total. This is the pallet type it's going to go on, and just some basic information that we need. So we're going to go ahead and click continue. And we're going to be prompted to our first product right here. So this one is telling us that we need to go to bin E2 for our Truly product and we need to pick 5 cases of it. So in our first scenario, we're going to say that this was a normal pick. We went to this bin, it was there were 5 cases, we're good. So in that case, we would go ahead and click that next product. In this scenario, I'm going to stretch it a little bit just so we can kind of see a bit more of the ePick Plus functionality. So let's say we were at this bin and there wasn't enough product in there, but I know it's going to get replenished or I know I can go to another product and it should be replenished by the time I get back. So I can go up here and click this View All button and I could go to my next product. So what we're really doing is we're skipping this product to go to a next one. And then at the end, we're going to see that the system is going to prompt us back to this product and say, hey, did this get replenished? Can we pick it now? So I'm going to go ahead and click into our next product. I'm going to say that there is no bin inventory 0 because maybe we do have maybe 2 products in there that it's getting replenished. But I am going to select that there is a request a replenishment task. So that way my replenishment team can go in, get that replenished by the time I come back. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle that one on and click next. So now we went ahead and skipped that product and we are now moving on to our second product. So it's telling us to go to bin C2, pick up another Truly product, and go from there. So here on this page, we're going to say that there wasn't actually enough product in here, and we do need a replenishment task in here. We want to tell our replenishment team, hey, there was only one case of this Truly, and we need it to be replenished. So we're going to go in here and we're going to write in here exactly what we're seeing in that bin. So I'm going to minus that out and put a 1 because there was only one case of this product. So once I click next product, that prompt is going to appear. The system's going to be like, hey, I noticed that you did a quantity that was less than that. So what are we doing? And the truth is we want to request a replenishment here. So I can keep that toggled on. And once I click next, it's going to tell the system, hey, we're creating a replenishment task. We're going to move on to the next product, but we already told our replenishment team that this is needed to be replenished. So on the back end, it's going to send a direct replenishment to our replenishment team. They're going to be able to see that and they're going to go and be able to replenish that. So that way, the next time the picker goes to that bin, they're not experiencing that same issue and they'll actually have product that they can utilize. So by clicking next, that's exactly what it did. So it created that directed replenishment task. If you have your replenishment team and they are working on it, there is a passive notification that they will see so that icon will populate a 1, or if they had more than that, it could populate an additional number, just showing them that they do have a new directed replenishment task for that product. We can also see that here in the view all. So if we were to go to view all, we can kind of see what's happening with this specific pick palette. So we can see, hey, we skipped this first one and the second one we had a replenishment. So we inserted a 1 and that little bar right there is showing that it was a replenishment task that was created. So as we keep moving on, I'll go back into this and kind of show you the new icons that we've incorporated so that way you can see how you're moving on during the workflow. Awesome. So now for this product, we're going to go ahead and simulate a change bin. So let's say we go to bin L13, we're looking for this product, and it's a high volume product and we're standing in front of L13 and we don't see any, but we know that it's such a high volume product that the bin right next to it has actual product. So if we wanted to change bin, we can now do that. So if we were to go up here to this L13, you can see this little drop down that we have available. We can go ahead and click that and we can see the next bin that there is available inventory in. So I can see, like I said, that there isn't any inventory in L13, but there is some in K13. So I'm going to go ahead and click K13. It's going to ask if I want to confirm that bin change, and I'm going to click OK. And then it has updated in the system that we are now pulling this product from this different bin. So that's where you want to change that bin if you are needing to in any regard. So from here, we're going to go ahead and say, hey, we changed bin. We knew that there was the correct inventory in that. So we are going to click next product because that one's all good. Awesome. And so then our last pick that we're going to go through is we're going to go to this bin O2 and we can see that there's just no product in this bin. There's no inventory. We can't pick anything. So we need to set this bin inventory to 0. To do that, we would go in here and we're going to go ahead and just type in a big 0 just to tell the system, hey, there's no inventory in this bin at all, so we need to move on. Once I click that 0 into the actual pick, I'm going to go ahead and click next product. And it's going to give me that prompt again. It's going to say, hey, notice you put a 0. Are we wanting to reset this bin inventory to 0? Do we want to create a replenishment task? And that's kind of dependent on your business needs of what you need to do. So for this one, I do want to reset the bin inventory to 0. So that way it's going to prompt our next pickers and say, hey, there's no inventory in this bin right now. So that way they're not going through the same process. Now, if I do know that we have some product available just in a different bin or in a different backstock area, we can click this request of replenishment so that way it is replenished in a timely manner whenever you have that replenishment going. So I'm going to go ahead and click next. And when I click next, we should be done with all of our products. But if anybody remembers, I did skip that first product. So it's going to take us. Shouldn't start talking. It's going to take us right back to that first product that we did skip in the very beginning because we assumed that it was going to be replenished as we were still picking, which it has been. So we can see here that we are on our third out of four products. Again, someone asked this question. This is that progress bar showing that we are on that 3 out of 4 products on our palette. And then up here, we have our total number of units at the very top. So before we go ahead and confirm this palette, I just want to show you the view all again, just to show you that, hey, this is what we've kind of worked through. We skipped this product in the very beginning, and now we're back at it. We can see as our kind of encompass color right here. We created a replenishment task for this second product, as we can see with this other icon. The third icon, we changed our bin and we were good. We got that inventory, so we were able to pick it. So we have a little check mark right there. And then our last product, we had no inventory in the bin at all, so we set that to 0. And we can see that updated with the little X. So just want to show you the new icons that we have, just a little bit more visually appealing and a little easier for our pickers to see and utilize throughout their day. So if I go back to this product, which I know it's going to talk again. Perfect. We can see here that we went back to this product since we skipped it and it has been filled. So this bin is good. We can now pick this product. Now, if I were to click next product, it would say the palette has been confirmed. And I don't want to do that yet just because I want to show you a few other things. So earlier in our slides, I know we mentioned that we've streamlined the workflow where we don't have to click that back button numerous times. We can go to the main page from our settings. And what I mean by that is if our pickers are in the picking process and they need to go and do a move real quickly, they see a product in the middle of the floor, they need to go do a move, they don't have to continuously click the back arrow anymore. All they have to do is just go to the 3 menu right here and they can click this main page, and that's going to take them directly to all those tools that they can utilize right away. So again, no more backspace, backspace. You can just go to the hamburger menu in the top right and click main page now. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and click next product and confirm this palette. So right here, we can see that that palette was confirmed. So we have finalized all the information in there. We can see the route, our customer that it's going to, the palette ID, and that it is confirmed with a different color change right here. Now, if we needed to go and reprint this palette for any reason, or we wanted to go and see just the products that we did cut, we can still click into this and we can see those products that did kind of come from this. So we can see that one of them is gone, which is because we set that inventory to 0. And the rest is why we have, hey, 5, 5, those were good. And then why we have 1 as a replenishment task. Again, we could reprint this palette tag from here if we clicked print. If you did have a default printer set up, it would probably already send it to that printer. That way you don't have to choose it. Or if it was set to none, you would have to choose which printer you wanted to go to. Now, if there were more palettes that we needed to pick, we can just go ahead and click start picking. There shouldn't be any more for me, so it's going to say no palette. But if there were more, you would go start picking and you can go throughout that whole process again. So again, a really more simplified process for a lot of our new users and a lot of the same workflow for our existing users. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to our slide deck here. Okay. And we're going to kind of wrap up a few things of just ePick Plus in general. So I know we talked about upgrading to ePick Plus through our 2509 upgrade. So I just want to talk a little bit about that. Again, it is here, so please utilize it, get your team going on it. And ePick Plus will be available, like I said, in your 2509. ePick Legacy won't be removed as of right now. It may be until the end of the year, just so that way you can utilize it, but it will no longer be supported. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to do something in ePick Legacy and it's not working as expected, go try it in ePick Plus first. Then you can reach out. but ePick Legacy will no longer be supported. So that's why we're trying to get this pushed into ePick Plus. Along with that, it is available. Get your team working on it. Get them, take advantage of all those improved features. Get them a good insight into the new features that we have with ePick Plus. Really start showcasing it to your team. And so that kind of moves into our what's next here. So if you aren't sure when you're going to upgrade to ePick Plus, I know we've been mentioning 2509, 2509, but some of us may not know exactly what 2509 means. So we can actually go to our Manage Upgrades dashboard to see the exact time when it is going to upgrade. Now, you may not have the specific permission for this, so I would recommend reaching out to a full access user or someone in the people team just to see. That way, if you don't have access, you're not like, hey, I don't know why I can't see this. So make sure that you do have that role or that permission so you can see that manage upgrade. Other with that, we want to make sure that your team is getting familiar with the new interface. We want them to see all those new features. We want them to see the new replenishment, the new bin inventory, how you can change bin, all those new features that we've really incorporated that they can now utilize in ePick Plus. So don't be afraid to share this session with your picker team. If you can carve out a few minutes, just show them the new features. That's always great as well. But we really want to show ePick Plus to everybody. Make sure that everybody is utilizing it as they should be. And with that, we do have a few help resources that can help with this process. If you have been wanting to update your Encompass Mobile for a while with some of those Skittles, go do it. Carve out some time, go customize that Encompass Mobile. If we have some pickers who shouldn't be seeing My Day or customers, go start removing those. Go kind of work with those. And we do have the help resources to help with that. We also have a few new help resources as well, one being the inventory management and the replenishment for ePick Plus. So those help resources are going to kind of revamp exactly what we talked about today, just in case you need to go back, review it. You also have this recording if you want it as well, but that is another helpful resource. If you are looking to get into more of the Android WS50 side, we did create a help resource where you can actually go and install it on Encompass. That way you know how to do it specifically for that Android device. And then with that, don't be afraid to ask Bev, reach out to our support team, upload your logs if you need to. Our product manager is expecting a lot of feedback too. So if you do have any ideas, please make sure to put them in the idea portal. We're really listening for these next few months as ePick Plus is being rolled out. So don't hesitate to go test it, go check it out, go see how it's working. See, let us know if you have any more ideas. With that, thank you so much. And we can open for some questions.
We do have some questions. So before we get into these, I'm just going to say we have a few minutes left in the session, obviously. So be typing them out. We're not going to, cut you off or shut it down early, but we are getting into that wrap up mode. So if you have questions, be typing them in either Q&A or chat. Either works. So first question. Can you further explain the palette sorting methods under the settings? So I don't know if we want to go back to the demo to see that or if you know them offhand, but the palette sorting methods under the settings.
Yeah, Alex, if you can get back there, I think I remember most of them. The idea of that sort method is when you're looking at that main page and you're looking at your palettes, the sorting method. So if you click on the three dots, I believe it's under settings. The idea is like how you want these to display on that page, right? So my picker is looking at it. Do I want to see, right, the time they've completed? So I can look through like as my palettes have been assigned, the order in which I've done them. Do I want them sorted by status? I want all my pick completed at the bottom and then my assigned at the top kind of thing. So the idea there is really just for that main page, how I want that to be displayed. It is the same list of options and the same choices they have in ePick Legacy. There's no real difference there between the two choices. So down there, palette sorting method, Alex, where it says palette status. Yeah, so you can go by delivery sequence, assigned. So all these should be the same sort options that are available in ePick Legacy, just pulled through now to ePick Plus. So it shouldn't be any difference there if your team was already using those to sort through. It's just an easier way to change how that's sorted from that main page. So if Alex had multiple palettes assigned, if you close out and go back to that main page. Just the back arrow,
Just
yep.
getting in the area.
It would determine how his palettes are listed here on this page. It's the same as what's controlled with ePick Legacy. So no difference there between that setting currently versus that setting in ePick Plus.
Awesome. Thanks. Um, while we're here, I want to take a look at something we talked about earlier. You know, there was the status bar and we talked about the SKU progress. The question is, in ePick Legacy, there's a screen that shows the total pallet count. My question is, will there be a place in ePick Plus to see those same numbers? So we talked about the status bar, we talked about the SKU count or the case count. Can we see the total pallet count?
So I guess I would want a little clarification there. Are we talking about like total pallets the user has picked and completed, or total pallets assigned for that specific pick? Is this more in regards to I'm picking 1, 2, or 3 pallets at a time, or how many pallets have I picked for the entire day type of thing? So we can get that clarification. If it's pallets picked at a time, Alex, go hit the 3 dots again. I don't know if we have it turned on our test set here in the settings, but here's where a user should be able to control simultaneous pallet count. So if we're talking about, hey, how many pallets am I picking at a time? This is where they can control that. Similar process for setting that on ePick Legacy versus ePick Plus, right? You control the max number versus on a system setting site-wide, and then each individual user can control how many they're choosing there. So if that's the question of pallet count, like how many they're getting, that's where that's controlled. In terms of like total pallets picked, I am not perfectly familiar if there's a separate report that they could show in ePick Legacy to remember if that's available here in ePick Plus off the top of my head. That would be something that would be a great question to throw into our support team so we can kind of just take a look. So absolutely get a ticket created for that, and we can get you that confirmation without trying to dive into, 4 or 5 different pages here and comparing. But from that main page, you'll still see a list of all the pallets that users have completed to see like, hey, how many pallets have I picked? So it's a specific report that was available in ePick Legacy. That'd be a good follow-up question for our support team to get back to you on where they can confirm.
All right, perfect. It says they'll reach out to support and confirm all that. So
Awesome.
appreciate you. Okay, now last question that I have here is, can pickers use both simultaneously, or is it one or the other for ePick Plus and ePick Legacy?
We strongly recommend doing one or the other. Now that ePick Plus is going to be the only supported version going forward, we strongly recommend that being ePick Plus. There's nothing stopping a group of pickers using ePick Plus to test and validate for your workflows, while the rest of your pickers are on Legacy. While we were mentioning ePick Plus a few months ago when it was first coming out, that was kind of a recommendation leading up to it, is maybe have some of your experienced pickers get on ePick Plus and utilize that so you can run them in tandem. I would definitely not recommend a picker going back and forth between the two on their own, right? Have them stick with one so they get familiar with it, know what the workflow looks like, and can be experienced in it. And the more of your users that can get on ePick Plus, the better for right now. Because as we mentioned, moving forward, ePick Legacy will not be anything that we are looking to make corrections or updates to. So anything that you might run into that's unexpected behavior, we'll want to get all those users shifted to ePick Plus, see if you're still experiencing the same unexpected behavior, and then reach out to support with a ticket. And as Alex showed, always, always, always upload those voice pick logs anytime you have an issue within ePick Plus. That way, if we do need access to them, we can have them and we can much more easily find out what was going on. So that should always be a great default of if someone sees anything going on with ePick Plus, go ahead and upload logs, then create that support ticket. If you let us know the user and the logs are uploaded, we can grab those and get those investigated as well.
All right, follow up to that. Can we then remove legacy as an option?
Absolutely. As Alex had mentioned, the customizing encompass mobile. That's where you can set a specific mobile application onto your warehouse users, and you can remove that ePick mobile item. We do have some steps in help resource on how to use that, how to do specifically just like removing mobile items and setting that on roles. But that's the easiest way to do that. We do have a few mobile applications that are already out there that you can choose. Alex, you go back for me to the main warehouse screen. So we pre-made a few of these to make it easier. Go ahead and tap on the three bars on the top right for me, and then click select EM mobile application. So the one that says EM warehouse is one that we have built and put on everyone's site that should have removed ePick legacy by default. So if I click on that for me, and that should now just show ePick Plus. So if you set that mobile application on your pickers roles, so on their role table, set that to that EM warehouse mobile application, they won't have to go in and change anything like Alex just did. They will just see this by default, and you will not see ePick Legacy. They'll only see ePick Plus. And then come end of the year, we'll officially remove and deprecate that ePick Legacy mobile item, meaning it won't be available for anyone else. But that's how you can control users only seeing that one to make sure they're just working there. Or you can create your own mobile application, as Alex had mentioned, and remove some of those other skills from the homepage if you don't need them to see other things. But this warehouse one is doing most of that for you. They should really only see, if you guys have a pick management kiosk, see that option, see warehouse, see control panel, and then removing that ePick legacy from this page.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. There's no more questions that have been put in so far. So if you're typing something out, you've got a little bit of wiggle room here. We're going to give you a long runway. But I will start my little wrap-up spiel. I want to start off by thanking you, Coop and Alex, for this presentation today and all of our attendees who were able to make it. If you have a moment at the end to fill out a survey for these presenters, this session, and provide any future ideas for things you'd like to see, that's exactly what that survey is for. Submit your ideas. Um, you will be able to find this recording on our recording archive. Just go into the universal search for our recording archive, and this and any of the other Skills Kickstart sessions, featured skills, or
And I think Lori may have froze, so I could finish up for her as well. You can go ahead and check this out in the recording archive. Any other help resources that you want to utilize, please ask Bev, enter any support tickets that you may have, and go check back on the e-learning dashboard to kind of see what other stuff we have coming up. It is our new season, so we have a bunch of new webinars coming out. So stay tuned, and we're really excited. So I don't see Lori coming back, so I will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you again, everybody, for attending. Thank you for Cooper for presenting with me. I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.